Hello watch lovers, you know what time it is. This is something I've been asked to do for quite a while, so here we are, our first live from the studio. I've got my good friend Paul here and Marc Bourne. And what I want to get out of the way, I want to do all the apologies now because there's bound to be some cock-ups, so don't worry about all the mistakes, we're good at those. We just wanted to put a real live studio. You guys can ask us questions, hear what we're talking about, and keep the questions coming. Great, you know, that's what we're here for. So I've got my good friend Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Considering my aging condition, mate, I'm not too bad. If I was a watch, I'd be an old 16013 that needs a service and a new glass.
Rightio. So you're not one of the 50s vintages. You're not deep vintage.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
And Marc,
not
how
yet.
are you?
Very well, thank you. All
Good.
good.
Thank you for joining us. For anyone who doesn't know, Marc was on my first show about 6-7 weeks ago.
What a success.
Absolutely. Well, we're still here. I don't know how, but we are. So to say, Marc was at the beginning, and Marc has launched about 3 or 4. How many years ago was it, Marc? When you're
3-4 years.
3-4 years. So Marc has a Facebook group which has grown quite dramatically now, hasn't it? What's it up to?
Just over 20,000 members.
Right, and it's grown from what, about 10? Is that
Yeah,
so?
in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Doubled.
Yeah, good. So here we are, guys. So I can see quite a few of you have joined us, and if you've got any questions or things you want to ask, but we're just going to start off by talking about a few of the new arrivals, things that have happened. And what we're going to do is, rather than just go on about Rolex, we're going to talk about some of the other brands. So to start with here, Marc, the Tudors that have come out. Your thoughts on those?
I think it's a great watch. I think it's the right money. I think they're really nice, great daily, you know.
Yeah.
Good looking watch.
I mean, on the screen there, Paul, your thoughts on that as well now? The new
Yeah,
version?
I think it was a strong release. Not perhaps so many. Obviously, you know, number wise, fairly limited. But what they did release, I think, was very strong. One or two slight reservations about that beautiful gold watch. I mean, it is beautiful, but whether that's too close look from a looks viewpoint to the bronze watches that they've made in the past, whether they're going to be able to convince the punters to put their hands that deep in their pocket when they maybe have already got the bronze one, I'm not so sure. I think I'm looking at it now on my iPad. That grey, I don't call it grey, do they? Thorpe, that Thorpe dial, Black Bay 58. That's beautiful. I really, really like that. And the new chronograph, I think that's a real something special and great value for money. So pound for pound for me, limited but a very strong show.
Absolutely. I mean, at under 4,000, they're 3,990 those, which
Yeah.
again, a Paul Newman sort of dial. Totally agree with you on the green there. When I looked at it to start with, I don't know about you, Marc, I thought, wow, it's another bronze. And then saw the price tag, £13,000 on a strap for a Tudor. It's pushing.
Bit rich.
Yeah, it seems a bit rich. But look.
But you will get that at a discount though, Spencer. I'm pretty sure that once that's been out a few weeks and it's in the shop windows, you'll get something off that.
Sure, absolutely. So moving on, we've also got here, so we've spoken about those. Hublot brought out a few new pieces. Guys, don't know your views. I mean, we spoke earlier, didn't we? Said sort of between 2005, 2010, quite popular. But I don't know, they're nice pieces, but people tend to get bored with them. But they do bring out some nice pieces.
I think they're definitely making a comeback. They've put out some fabulous watches recently. I think they're really nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're a brand that people seem to love to hate, or it's almost fashionable to rip it out of Hublot. I've always quite liked them, you know, and when you compare, you know, I know you can't compare the quality to Richard Mille, but the look is not too dissimilar in many instances. I think most people would probably agree with that, or some might not. But I think, you know, they're probably one of the closest watches to a Richard Mille from a looks viewpoint. I've got nothing against the brand at all. I think the problem with them is that I think it was you that said that, Spencer, that people get bored of them. They're a watch that people like. They buy them. They're an itch that people want to scratch. And it kind of wears off fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm when I was dealing, I would get offered quite a few Hublots, and quite often the person that owned it hadn't actually owned it very long. So for me, it's all about buying those watches at the right price. They've got to be bought at the right money to start with. Otherwise, you could end up catching a bit of a cold.
Sure. I mean, I still see them. We don't see big volumes of them. Chronographs at 6,000-8,000. I tell you, I mean, always used to get, and I'm sure it's a watch you love, Paul, the gold Hublot, the gold with the gold bezel and the gold with the black bezel. We get them through nowadays. They used to be around 10,000. They're now sort of they're creeping up a little bit.
The big bang you're talking about,
Yeah, but they're a watch that's in a second-hand market is a good price at sort of 6,000-8,000. Yeah. You know, it's a chronograph. It's got a nice movement. The glass back, I think, looks. You know, it looks good. Like you say, it's all about the money. For the price, it's good. And, you know, it's nice to see them bringing out some new pieces. This Unico here is limited to 250 pieces, and we're at 22 grand. It's a lot of money. And people realise that they're looking for a discount or they're going to lose a bit of money on this.
The thing is, Spencer, if you look, if you go back a few years, all these fancy colours that a lot of the watch brands are now coming out with, they would have been unthinkable years ago. People would have laughed it out of town. But, it's quite fashionable now. It is, more socially acceptable, if you like, for a man to be wearing a yellow watch or a pink one or whatever colour he fancies wearing. So, look, I like all those bold colours. It's just, as we said, people tend to get a bit bored with them. You can only live with a bright yellow watch for so long. It can't be your only watch in your collection.
Sure.
Otherwise,
Totally
it will drive you mad.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to some of the viewers here. We've got Jonathan Reed, who said the 925 silver Tudor a killer. Again, don't disagree with you. I think the silver's great. We've got Red Shovel here. He's mentioned Explorer 2 release was very disappointed. Guys, your views on that?
Well, you go first.
There was nothing in it.
There's nothing
in it at all.
No.
I think you might get a little crown at the 6. No, I think that's any difference.
Very, very, very lazy for me. Very lazy. Very disappointing. I look. We all know that Tudor and Rolex are intrinsically linked, and I'm just wondering if Rolex need to be nicking some of Tudor's research, design and development people and move them over to the factory across the street, because as our viewer just said, that Black Bay 58925, I mean, what a stunning looking watch that's going to be. It's lovely on the screen, and I think you get it on your wrist, it's going to look even better. And I just want to make this point to be in agreement with our viewer there, is that, look, £3,230 for that watch. What is a non-date sub these days on the grey market? I don't know.
9.5, 10s. Yeah.
So you could buy 3 of these watches for the price of an on-date sub on the pre-owned market. There are arguments against, what's going to be worth what in a few years' time, but I think Tudor, I wouldn't say they smashed it out of the park with this release. I don't think there's enough of them. I think they've also missed the trick, but they've kept the ace up their sleeve again, haven't they, with a re-release of the Tudor sub. So maybe they've kept that up their sleeve for next year or the year after, whenever they decide they need to do it. But as I said earlier, a very strong release, I think, Tudor.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a few other questions here. What we got going on here? Howard Jackson wants to know if the gold Tudor should have had display case backs for the glass back. Look,
I believe it has.
He says shouldn't have had a display case back.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say it has, hasn't it? Yeah. It depends what you like, doesn't it? I mean, I've only had a brief look at the back of the case. It didn't look, it's not a Lange, that's for sure, but it's pretty enough. So why not? It wouldn't bother me either way, to be honest. I'll probably agree. I will prefer it without.
Yeah, I think so on that. A good question here. Greggy Boy 76. Pick of the whole show far, the new blue dial yellow gold Patek and the Tudor chronos. We haven't moved on to the Pateks, but guys, the 5990. Wow,
Unreal.
Wow, what a
Unbelievable.
watch.
Love it.
Paul, it's up
Yeah,
there,
very
isn't it?
nice. Another winner. Absolute winner.
Yeah.
But you know, you're not going to get the piece. I mean, I think
That's the problem. That's the problem.
I think we've just got to all admire. There it is on the screen. I mean, that 5990 for me, that is wow. It really is. And the green Patek, the 5711 there, Paul.
5711. Yeah, I'm just looking at a WhatsApp message that I got from one of my friends who is a big Patek guy. He owns a lot of Pateks. He's very, very well known in his authorised dealers. And he said to me, Paul, I'm just reading his text out now. I love the green dial Nautilus, but it's going to be super hyped. And I can see the watch being sold well over 125,000 in the used market.
Wow.
What do I think?
Wow.
You know, I mean,
Wow.
crazy.
Well, I know I had the Aquanaut, which I got for a customer, and that was over 50,000, sort of 600, and I thought that was huge money. Huge. And as I say, I've seen the blue dial again, was 55,000, which we got for someone. I thought those were huge.
Yeah.
I
Mad money,
mean,
yeah.
I couldn't even guess at a price on this. I really couldn't.
Green's definitely the new blue.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Green's gone mad with everything, with Rolex, now the Pateks. Really popular, the green. I think it's a beautiful watch.
I just want to pick up on what the last viewer said about the pick of the releases. For me, the Tudor Black Bay Chrono with that white dial is just an absolute gorgeous watch. I mean, it's back to the future. 41mm case. Everything about it is right. The price is right. You'll be able to buy them in the shops. By the way, I have a steel and gold Tudor Black Bay Chrono on that on that leather bracelet, and I would encourage people to try that on. It sits really, really well. £3,660.
Wow. Just talking back on these Pateks, I mean, the 5990, that's 83,000. The olive green, 27 grand. You've mentioned, Paul, someone said to you they think there'll be £100,000 that piece.
Well, you know, look, listen, this is out of my remit a little bit because I was never a big Nautilus buyer. I simply didn't have the customers. 99% of my customers wanted Rolex. I bought, like yourself, a number of Pateks over the years, but I've been out in the game since these prices have gone absolutely ridiculous. Now, this guy really knows his stuff. Big collector, he's usually right, and he's saying he can see it selling for over 125 grand.
Wow.
In the used market.
Just want to do a big shout out here. Jacob Kendall, who has thanked Paul, you and myself and Mark here for doing these videos. Hi, Jacob. Thank you.
Hey, Jacob. How you doing, my friend? He's a lovely lad, Jacob.
Yeah.
He's always takes part. One of my favourite commentators. He always leaves good comments.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you for that. What else? We got Paul Oakley here. He's saying about the new dials on the 41mm. I mean, I haven't had much of a look on this. Are you aware of that, Paul? I mean, I do love the new brick dials, you know, the gold.
Yeah.
I think they look amazing. They do the blue as well. Paul, your thoughts on those?
I haven't seen anything. Let me just see if I've missed that. Date just 41. Let's have a quick look at what I've missed there.
What else we got? Earl has mentioned here, do you think Rolex will release another Explorer 2 for the 50th anniversary? Well, it's this year. I think they've missed it. I mean, now was the time. It's April. That was the time for the launch. A lot of people have said, oh, there'll be price increases. They're never going to launch and put price increases. That was never going to happen. But I can't see how they can now bring out a 50th anniversary. Your thoughts, Paul?
Oh, I don't think they'll do that now. I think what they'll do is they'll probably use COVID as they won't give us any explanations because they never speak to anyone, do they? But I think ultimately they'll probably use COVID as the excuse as to why the releases were what they were. Like I said to you yesterday, Spencer, I think they missed the trick. You know, I mean, it's a bizarre marketing move, in my
it's
opinion.
crazy.
A very bizarre one.
Well, Mark, Paul and I done something yesterday. We spoke about Rolex mainly. I mean, it was just really a talk about change of dials and bracelets.
Yeah.
There was only the 216570. The Explorer 2 was replaced with the 226570, and then we've gone 39 mil on the Explorer. Paul, they dropped it 36. What might have happened? Maybe they ran out of steel. Yeah.
Maybe they ran out of steel. Yeah. I mean, look, I've been speaking to people all day, you know, on and off today and yesterday about this, and I haven't spoken to one person, not a single one person, either in the trade or out the trade or just whatever they are, that can see the sense in such a big 36mm release with the date just and new dials.
Such a small 36mm? You mean why?
Yeah. Well, no, a big release. Yeah,
it's a big release, but a 36mm.
36mm. I mean, look, unless they see something that we don't, and we've got to say that, look, Rolex, their marketing people are unbelievable. Maybe their reconnaissance within the watch industry tells them that we're going to see a renaissance of the 36mm. I don't see any evidence of that.
Sure.
At all.
Okay, let's just go on to... So we've covered here the Tudor, the Hublot. We jumped to the Pateks. We're just going to have a quick mention here of the Zenith. So we'll bring up on screen for the viewers. So here, this is a crazy thing going on, Paul. So we've got 10 watches per colour, and we've got 5 colours. So we've got 50 pieces. I'll tell you where this, with Zenith, has smashed it out of the park. This is a proper limited edition.
Yeah.
You've got 10 watches and 5 colours. So beautiful, stunning. Would I spend 28 grand on them? I don't think so.
No.
Guys?
No. Definitely not.
Well, they're limited because, you know, the world's limited. There's only so many nutcases in the world, isn't there? You know, so you're going to be limited to the amount of people that you can find and talk to. But no, look, seriously, look, they're a nice watch. Spencer, you're nearly laughing. What's wrong? What am I saying?
10 watches. Again, the movement, the colouring, to do the movement different, I think fantastic. But in terms of a worldwide brand, you got 50 pieces at 28 grand. Even with my bad maths, that's £1.5 million a watch sales. Is it not?
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah,
I think
about.
just shy.
Yeah.
Just shy of one. I mean, it just...
No, look,
I can't
Spencer,
see it.
they will... The bottom line is that you know, putting my serious hat on, if you like, those watches will sell. They'll sell probably of every... How many is there? 50 in total?
There's 50 pieces.
I would say that 40 to 45 of them will be sold in Dubai.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, to people with more money than they care about.
Sure.
And you're probably, it's just my humble opinion, it's just a guess, but if that watch creeps onto the pre-owned market in a year's time, half price, because they're not a collectible. It's not a collectible watch, is it? Really,
It's not desirable.
Paul, I remember back in the day when I used to go on watch trips, I bought the most beautiful Zenith chronograph in rose gold. It was nicer than any day. It was stunning, and at the time it was a 12 grand watch. I think it was 4 or 5 grand in rose gold. It was absolutely, but they don't sell.
No.
Zeniths are very difficult to sell.
They're not wanted.
No, absolutely. Just moving back here, we've got General Wombo. He's saying that Pepsi on an oyster is the winner on winner chicken dinner.
Agreed.
Don't disagree.
100%.
Don't disagree.
100% agree.
Yep. General Wombo, you are bang on there. Maybe you work for Rolex, I'm not sure. Was that something you put forward? Paul and I are still contemplating. We do believe that one day Rolex will call us up and say, please, can you sort out the new releases?
Next one, yeah.
I mean, Mark, you mentioned you thought that some people should be getting their P45 for this year's releases.
Whoever designed that Sky Dweller with the Jubilee, he's got to go.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
Yeah. Totally.
I agree with that. Mark. That for me was
Killed it.
A big disappointment.
Yeah. To me, he had, it was a stunning watch. He killed it staying dead.
General Wombo agrees there. He says the Sky Dweller on a Jubilee is a disgrace.
Yeah, 100%.
We all agree with you there. And again, the 36mm Explorers. What is going on? For the first time ever, we're now shrinking. We're shrinking watches. Maybe the machinery went wrong. Maybe the guy was supposed to make it 42 and he made it a 36mm die, or they ran out of steel. Who knows? But
Serious question though, Spencer. I'm playing devil's advocate now. Look, we live in the UK. You deal in London. I used to deal in the similar sort of areas. Maybe it's us that's got it wrong. Maybe Rolex is, as I said a little bit earlier, maybe their market research says that there is a renaissance on the way for the 36mm size. I don't see it, but it's possible because I heard it mentioned. I've heard this mentioned in recent months. Oh, I'm going back to more classic size, etc., etc. But in this day and age, people talk about a more classic size sort of still being above 36mm. But we'll have to wait and see. They never usually get anything wrong, but
no,
they baffled me this time.
Yeah. I think the right size is 39-40mm. If you look, all the sports watches are 40mm.
Yeah,
that's sort of the size. You got the 42s, 43s, the OP 41s, the subs are moved to 41. You really thought if you had a 39mm Explorer, surely you're going to go 41, not 36.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah.
Again, maybe they're trying to kick the trend. Who knows? Who knows with it? Just doesn't make sense.
I think it all depends as well, Spencer, because we haven't seen them yet. To be fair, it will depend on how they wear, because we know that you can have a 42mm watch that wears like a 40mm watch. You can have a 36mm watch that wears like a 40mm watch. So it depends on how they wear. But in my opinion, you wouldn't catch me wearing one. They're just, to me, it's like almost feel like a mid-size these days.
Paul, Jacob Kendall saying, looks like Paul is wearing his James Cameron. Let's all show what we got on here then today.
I am this evening, yeah.
You know something? Your twin brother's wearing the same. There we go.
Is he?
And
he's got taste.
Well, okay. I put, as you know, I wear the Batman, but I thought I'd put something on tonight just to wind Paul up because I love starting with him about the gold. So go on. He hasn't seen yet. He can't quite see yet. What is it, Paul?
Let's have a look. That screen is looking a long way away from me.
Right, we'll show it there. There we go.
Oh yeah, very nice.
There we go. It's the rose gold.
Nice.
Beautiful.
The rose gold Daytona. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always said all the Daytonas. I don't really wear gold that often, but I just pulled this one out today. I absolutely love that. That's with the black with the gold dials.
Yeah, beautiful watch.
Again, some of the new dials. Paul and I had a quick chat on it yesterday. Your thought? Have you seen, Mark, the new dials that come out on Daytonas?
Yeah. Bit Marmitey. I think you love them or hate them.
Yeah.
They're growing on me. Definitely growing on me.
Paul loves all of them. I love the meteorite for me on the white gold. Stunning.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on the others, but maybe when I see it, I mean, you've said, Paul, who knows? Who knows?
I think, do you know why I like them? I mean,
they're on the screen there now, guys. If anyone wants to see, we got those there.
Sorry, say that again.
We've got them on the screen.
The Oyster Flex is definitely the nicest one in the white gold.
I agree. That's yeah.
One of the reasons I like those dials is, for me, historically, that the Daytona is all about, in many respects, about the rarity of the dial. That often defines the collectability, the rarity of it, etc. And those watches that they've released this year with those dials, they will be sought after. They will be collectible. And I tell you what, mate, by the time we're rotting away somewhere, they'll still be very collectible and very, very, very valuable. So I like the way they've kind of kept in with the tradition of throwing us something in the Daytona range that's got a different dial, like they've done with the Eye of the Tiger, the green dial, etc., the platinum, with the baguette diamonds. That's been hugely popular. So I appreciate what they've done with that. For me, and a lot of people disagree with this, for me personally, I'd like to see the size of the Daytona increased to bring it into the 21st century. I'd love to wear a Daytona. I just find them, I've said this before, I just find them a bit on the feminine side.
Yeah. Well,
I agree.
let me tell you, of late, when I'm selling them, and I recently had a lovely couple in, a lady who's going to be on our show coming forward, and her and her husband, they bought a Daytona, and they wanted it that she could wear it as well. So again, it was a white dial Daytona.
Ceramic.
Ceramic,
Yeah.
yeah. And no, it was the earlier one. They
Okay.
loved the steel, and they both wanted the watch that they can wear. So I agree.
I
with
love
you.
them. I love them on other people. I find them too small for me. But on
That's
other
a good
people, I
shout,
love
Mark.
them.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I love them on other people. Yeah.
Well, it's okay for smaller people like me, you know. And one of our customers there has just put up. Jonathan Reed mentioned. He said that the 36mm Explorer for the Asian market, which quite possibly,
Sounds about right.
And obviously they are big buyers, and maybe they've dictated of what they want released.
Hasn't
Possible.
Yeah, I mean that's an excellent point. Actually, a very very good point. But what about the North American market and the European market? Surely that is, from what I hear at least, and I don't live there, but the Asian market hasn't been perhaps what it has been in recent times. And I would think that, not to ignore, but to sort of kind of put to one side the US market, which is huge, and the European market, which is massive.
Sure.
I still find it strange.
Another question here, DePetra75. This is a good question here, very good question. What do you think will happen to the value of existing 36 and 39mm Explorers and existing Batmans? So again, go on, Paul, over to you first of all.
Explorers will go up.
The 39s, I think, will be a very sought after watch.
Yeah, they'll go up. They're going to be very sought after. So anyone that's bought a 39 in recent times, I think they're quids in. As for the Batman, that's a little bit more of a difficult question because, what are the differences between the old and the new one? Obviously, you've got the movement. There's a minor difference on the dial, but at the end of the day, essentially, it's the same watch to look at. I found that truly a strange move. What effect will it have on the prices? Probably a slight downward trend for a while, and then it will just go back to normal.
I haven't actually studied it. I'm not sure. Is there slight differences on the dials? And we got them up on the screen there, guys. I'm really...
Yeah, I think there is. Let's just go back onto the website again. I haven't had the chance to study them all closely.
We've got them on the screen.
But I don't think, price-wise, I think the other question as well is a lot of people have been asking me. We saw Anthony Farrer over at the Timepiece Gentleman. He'd been out buying up all the green dial Daytonas, all the platinum Daytonas, with a view to them being discontinued, heavily rumoured to be being discontinued, one if not both of them. That didn't materialise. So a lot of people have been asking the question, what's going to happen to that watch? Well, the answer is nothing. It's not going to suddenly become worth a lot less money because they haven't discontinued it this year. It would have jumped up in price.
Oh, it would have been
had they discontinued
but
it.
it's crazy as it is. I mean, we put up a platinum one. I'm still looking for a customer. I'm hoping to get something tomorrow. The platinum Daytonas, guys. Wow, I've got a queue of customers with the baguette or the plain dial. People want that piece.
Yeah,
that is really, really hot. That piece.
And the thing is, look, if they don't discontinue it this year, they'll do it next year. So, look, if you're sitting on one of them watches, it's still a winning lottery ticket. So I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Sure.
If you want to get rid of them at list price, I'm sure Spencer will buy them.
Well, we'll see what we can do. What else we got? So just moving back onto watches, we've had a quick chat on this. We'll just finish off the updated Batman and Pepsi. I mean, it was an easy fix for them. I suppose if they all sat around the table and said, what can we do? Just produce a few more bracelets and swap something over. I mean, the only thing I can see, I think the dial's got the crown in the middle at the bottom, where it says Smith's made.
Yeah.
I think they've thrown a crown in. But besides
and the new movement,
Yeah. I think the Pepsi looks... Is it red and... Actually, can we just see that back on screen? Paul, with that, is that red and black or red and blue?
It looks red and blue
red
to
and
me.
Blue, yeah. So we got a new... Again, no criticism, I think. It's great. It's an easy fix, but...
I love it.
So they discontinued it. They bought in the Jubilee. Someone else turned around to me and said, is it Rolex admitting a mistake?
Bringing it out on a Jubilee.
No, bringing back out the oyster mark. So what that means is it their way of saying, hey, guys, like we know we made a mistake. Here's your oyster back, sort of thing.
Made the mistake with the Jubilee.
Mistake with the Jubilee.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think it's a great move. I love it.
Well, yeah, as we said yesterday, Spencer, I would go along with that to some degree. But if they truly believe that, then surely they wouldn't have done it with the Sky Dweller. You know, if they thought they'd made a mistake putting the Jubilee on the GMT, they didn't learn from it, did they? Because they've done it with a Sky Dweller.
Well, maybe they like making mistakes then. But I mean,
and it's quite a bit more money to have the Jubilee.
Yeah, especially on the bimetal. It's only a few £100 on the steel. I mean, Mark, you brought up, and I totally agree. I think the Jubilee on the bimetal is no.
No.
Paul, it doesn't look right, does it? On the Sky Dweller.
No, not at all. No. Mark, on your Facebook group, what's the general reaction been from your people over there to the new releases in general?
Everyone's gone mad over the Pepsi.
Yeah.
And I think it's 50-50 pretty much on the Daytonas. A lot of people are loving it. Other people were like not much of an opinion on it.
The Daytonas will take care of themselves. I wouldn't. Yeah. If I was Rolex, I wouldn't worry about those. What about the Sky Dweller?
No one's really liking the Jubilee. A lot of people aren't liking the Jubilee.
Are there loads of comments? Was it really busy yesterday?
Yeah, it was quite. Yeah, it was pretty full on. It was quite full on. Yeah, sure. It was an exciting day for Rolex fans.
It was an exciting day, but as someone said, the journey's often better than the arrival. And I just, I've said it for years. I can remember saying this, God knows how many years ago, that sometimes they just need to think outside the box a little bit. Give us something to get us a little bit excited about. I mean, look, if Tudor can do it, why can't Rolex do it? What is their problem? Why do they have to be so staid and at times just goddamn boring?
Yeah. Okay. So we've got Sky Dwellers. We've had a chat on those. I mean, everyone's saying, Paul, your friend Jacob Kendall is saying it's a can of worms asking Paul about the Sky Dwellers on a Jubilee. Steer clear with the crying face. So he knows your view on that. And again, I've had quite a lot of customers. People are very certain people, they either love it. It's a real Marmite watch.
Yeah.
Real Marmite watch, that piece.
Look, and that's what it's about, Spencer. At the end of the day, look, it don't matter what me and you like. I'm sure you'll be just as happy to sell someone a Sky Dweller on a Jubilee as you will an Oyster. It doesn't matter to you. Doesn't matter to me. This is it's like football. It's a game of opinions. It's a hobby of opinions, and that's what makes the world go round. So if anyone, loves that watch, then good on you. Go and buy it. I wouldn't look at it and say, oh, why did you buy that? It's not for me. But everyone is entitled to love what they love.
Yeah,
sure.
Let's face it, Spencer. Someone loves you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell my wife that later as well.
Yeah.
Greggy boy.
Last night, actually.
Greggy boy 76 said, great watch. Used to have to pay 30k for a white gold Oyster Pepsi. That's an interesting one. Now, a watch I'm going to compare to that. Obviously, when you couldn't get the Oyster, you used to have to buy the white gold, like he said, 30 grand. Another watch that I always found so difficult to sell, when you have a day date, Paul, with the polished bezel and the Oyster bracelet, looks like a steel date just, looks like a 5 grand date just, and they bought it out in white gold. And that was the... Paul, would you not agree? It was up there as one
yeah.
I think I can't remember the rest.
That's why I couldn't... that is why I couldn't see them bringing out that GMT. Why it was a real surprise. I didn't see them kind of almost replicating something they did in precious metal, because it could potentially take away the precious metal desirability or the sales, etc. So, look, again, some very unusual decisions. Wouldn't it be great to have someone from Rolex, to give us an explanation and tell us their thinking behind it? I think it would be a great PR move for them, personally.
Sure.
And this is the 21st century, mate. People are used to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, to hide and just keep your mouth shut, say nothing, and just be behind those big doors in Geneva. It's a bit of a dinosaur now, isn't it? Really.
Absolutely. I was having a chat with someone today, and we were having a good chat on the phone, and we were talking how when you go and buy a £30,000 Mercedes, you're greeted, you sit down, hello sir, can I get you a drink? They go through the whole order,
Yeah.
and you pick the interior, the outside, and everything else. And Paul and I would mention this as well. Wouldn't it be nice if you were sort of treated a bit nicer with the Rolex? And one of the things we mentioned, everyone was sure that there was ceramic coming on the gold. Wouldn't it be nice if you had a configurator where you could pick a yellow gold and have
Build your own watch.
Build your own watch.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I mean, a brand that's out there, Paul, I don't know if you've seen the customised Pro Hunter.
Yeah.
So Pro Hunter, take a Rolex, double it, and customise it for you. Now, Rolex could do that and allow people to do these things. It's crazy.
Back in the 70s, Spencer, early part of the 80s, they would actually do a little bit of mix and match for you. If you wanted if you went and bought a day date and you wanted a diamond bezel, they'd arrange that for you. If you wanted to change the dial, they'd arrange that for you. So they were a lot more flexible back in the day. Some of the best day dates that I've seen, the model reference numbers don't always match up to the factory diamond dial or the bezel that's on it, etc., because that was an order from the customer in the store, on the spot, on the day. And back then they were happy to do it. So the reference numbers and the watches don't always tie up perfectly.
I've had that a few times and said to customers, is it an aftermarket diamond dial? And they say, no, it's from Rolex. And I'd say, okay, do you have any evidence of that? And on occasions, people have pulled out the bill for 10 grand for a bezel, whereas I would get the bezel for £800, like an aftermarket piece. You can tell the difference, but wow, 10 grand to add a bezel. And like you say, Paul, they did do a little bit of that. But now with technology, it would be amazing if they could do it. I mean, what it could be worth, Paul, maybe we'll write to them, see if we can invite maybe the marketing department, and design, see if we get them on the show. I doubt they come forward.
Put us on a bit of commission. No, I think, I think I'm too common, mate, for them. They wouldn't want to know me.
Well, you're from Brighton, Paul, but us London people.
I'm not from Brighton, mate. I'm a Londoner. I live in Brighton. Cheeky. I'm a London boy.
So what else? Well, we've got Tamar Fell here. He's saying, build your own Rolex will never happen, ever. Watch this space. We'll try. We may be able to try and convince them. Who knows? And he also goes on to say that Rolex are so unpredictable, which we know. A good friend of mine.
I think he's right about the. I think he's right about the design your own Rolex.
Yeah, he probably is, but I don't like giving up, Paul. We have Anis Patel here, a good friend of mine. He thinks a ceramic Explorer will get released later on. It's Rolex, for God's sake. They know exactly what they're doing, fellas. Again, Paul, you're a little bit older than me. Do you know where there's ever been sort of where they've announced things during the year, or is it always only ever been the April?
You're right, Spencer. I am older than you, mate. So I'm going to have to be forgiven for saying I honestly can't remember. But one thing I will say, I think Anis is right I think he's wrong about the release of a new Explorer. I think he's wrong about the release for new Explorer. But where I do agree with him when he says it's Rolex, for God's sake, they know what they're doing. Yes, mate, you are spot on with that. So nothing would surprise me. And as our previous, they are unpredictable. But I can't see it personally, unless there is something going on behind the scenes because of COVID, and that is possible. I think in the times that we live in, Mark, I don't know if you'd agree, mate, right? I'm not surprised about what I see or hear. Nothing is really coming as a surprise in these unprecedented times, The only thing that's
12 months. It's been a mad 12, 13 months, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, the only thing that hasn't changed is I still can't get a response from the police, but there you go.
Well, we're going to solve that, Paul. We got them coming on, I think, in a few weeks. I've got
but it's the wrong one, mate. It's the wrong lot. You've got the serious boys coming on.
We've got the flying sguad coming on. I mentioned that to you, Mark. Yeah, we got the flying squad. We've got Kevin Parley, and another guy from the flying squad could well be joining him. So I think that would be great for the viewers. And they really tell it how it is, and some of their stories and the background, unbelievable.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're good lads. So I've actually got right here. Let me just grab this because it's in with arm reach. I don't know if you can see it. I have a flying squad lapel badge that I was given by the flying squad.
Was that when you were banged up abroad, Paul, or what?
Yeah, that was when I was in Pentonville serving my life sentence. Yeah.
Now you got to do it with me. Look, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the one thing I would say, Paul, if they'd done everything we said, our life would be very easy because we wouldn't have all this to talk about. We'd just be going, wow, isn't this out? Whereas every year we're waiting for different things, discussing things. I mean, they're such a closed book. We don't know what's coming. And even what is coming, we can't touch. I mean, this stuff won't be available till what? September, October? The stuff coming out?
Then try getting it then.
Depends. Yeah, I mean, I would have thought a bit earlier than that, but we're in unusual times. So some of it, I would have thought some of it would start to come through earlier. But this year, who knows? And I've just realised, Spencer, we've been online for what? I don't know, a good half hour. You have not made one mistake. And I'm a bit upset that you might be warming to this job.
Well, I'm just looking at all the comments. I'm trying to update and bring everyone in here. I mean, I've got here Edward French. Why don't Rolex make complicated watches like the other high-end brands? I mean, viewers, you know, please keep subscribing, throwing the questions in here. It's you guys who make this. I mean, Paul, this is my day job. During the day, I'm there speaking to people and speak to some great guys all day long, whether I'm buying or selling or discussing. This is what we do during the day. So this is just easy. The only difference is, I mean, we've got questions and ideas, and obviously got my friend Mark here and Paul adding to it. So it just...
Hey Edward, how you doing, mate? He's a good guy, Edward. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Spencer. I mean, one of the things people say to me, you know, oh, Paul, why do you do YouTube, etc. Look, Spencer, it's no different now to when I was actually working, part of my everyday working day. And people can believe this or believe it not, but they probably kind of sussed it out in some respects. I love speaking to people. I like helping them. I like trying to educate them, give them the benefit of my advice. And if you can get paid for doing that and selling people a dream, I can't think of a better job.
Sure.
You know, you're actually selling. That's why I can never understand someone being a traffic warden. Can you imagine, you know, giving people the ump all day for a living? It wouldn't be for me. You know, I used to do a job, and you do it right now, that people walk out with the biggest smile on their face you're ever going to see.
Sure.
And I made some wonderful friends when I was dealing. Not just other dealers like yourself, but, you know, members of the public, customers.
Sure.
A lot of my friends were once customers.
Sure. Well, that's what I say every day, Paul. You know, I open the post, I answer the phone. I don't know who's going to be on the end of it. I don't know what's going to be on the end of it. And if someone's coming in to sell a watch, and Mark, you've been in the showroom, and I say to people, I just want you, the watch is important, but the person, the human being, is far more important. And we don't let people out the office till they're paid. If they owe us money, they can leave. That's not an issue. But we won't let them out till they're paid. Yeah? And that's what it is. It's the bringing together through watches. But there are some great people. I mean, again, you know, you're talking expensive items, very valuable pieces. And, you know, people have got to feel comfortable with who they're dealing with.
Of course.
You know, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I think the watch industry, hasn't it grown though, mate? You know, when you look around now, just on YouTube, the amount of people that are doing channels. There's so many watch dealers out there now doing their own channel. So many commentators. So watch people, as I call them, they're sport for choice now, aren't they? They really are sport for choice. They've got people that are coming at it from a comical angle, a serious angle. You know, I kind of come at it from a serious sort of crimey angle, you know, reporting on the scams. You come at it from a haven't got a clue what you're doing angle.
Oh, exactly. Absolutely. We still haven't.
So there's sport for choice, isn't there? You know, it's a great time to be a watch person.
Yeah. And there's great product out there as well. And some people have made a hell of a lot of money in the watches they bought. And, you know, what I say to people, what else is there where you can have something, enjoy it, wear it, and then get a return on it?
It's great.
Yeah? I always say watches are the reverse of a car. When you have a car and something's discontinued, Jesus, done my money. Yeah. Watches, you have a watch that's been discontinued, and let's face it, yesterday, Paul, all everyone was waiting for, they just wanted to see, wow, is this discontinued? Is that? They're not worried about what's coming out. They want what they're holding to be discontinued to go up.
Yeah.
And
that was another strange. There wasn't much that went yesterday, was there?
No.
There wasn't much that went.
Very few.
Couple of day dates, I think.
Explorer, the 39.
Explorer. Yeah, there wasn't a lot that went.
And
which going back to what I think it was Tim Earl, was it? Going back to what he was saying, maybe we are in for a second helping later on in the year, but I'd be surprised. I think what is being discontinued are more likely than more introductions. Does that make sense? I could see us waking up one morning and the Platinum Daytona's disappeared and it's all of a sudden no longer available. I could see that happening, but I can't see us waking up in a couple of months' time finding a new Explorer 2 on the website. I don't see that.
I'm unsure. I mean, I'm not sure. Again, without looking back over stuff, I don't think that they keep discontinuing things through the year. I think you have your announcement and that's it, Paul. I mean, unless you can tell me otherwise.
What do you think, Mark?
I you know what, it keeps everybody on their toes, but they know what they're doing. Rolex, they're clever. They're really, really clever. I think we've got to wait another 12 months. But what do I know?
Right, we're going to jump back onto some of the watches, but I just wanted to mention that Paul Oakley has mentioned that your arms are looking good, Spencer, and I think Paul T is worried that he's covered up today. What is he giving him or not giving away? So, Mark, I don't know if you know, there's an arm wrestle going on between me and Paul. When we can get together, it's left and right, and the viewers can put out there like a forfeit. Like Paul will have to put his hand in his pocket again and buy me lunch from the burger van like he did at Brighton the other week. Yeah. So, yeah.
Are you nervous?
Who, me? No, not at all.
Paul?
Not at all.
Never been nervous in my life, mate. Listen, let me tell you something, Spencer. The bad news is for you. The number one forfeit that I've seen that people are suggesting for you.
Go on.
Is that you've got to give a watch away.
Oh, we're not worried about that, Paul.
Timex is very popular.
That's easy. I bought a lovely swatch the other day. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, mate. We are talking a proper watch. No messing about.
Well,
the forfeit for me, oddly enough, the forfeit for me, it doesn't seem too bad. I mean, they're just talking about me, giving another Casio away. So I'm not really bothered either way.
Sure. Right, let's just jump on to the watches then. So the Explorer 1, Explorer 2, we've sort of touched on that. I don't think there's much else for the viewer. If anyone's got any questions, I mean, there's not much to say. What do we got? We've got a different reference, a 226570 from a 216570. Still in white and black, still the same steel bezel. Maybe there's a slight... I think the hands are a bit more black on the new model. But that's
it's the question, Spencer. This is my question that I'd like to ask the guys at Rolex. Who is their target audience for that steel and gold Explorer? What is the target audience?
I'll tell you where I think that is, and a viewer mentioned that earlier. That's the Asian market. It's bang on the Asian market. The steel and gold. I don't think it's an ugly. I think it's quite a pretty watch.
Quite a dressy watch.
It's quite pretty. There's something about it. I don't think it's the worst thing they've ever bought. Look, they may be dipping their toes in the water, trying something a little bit different as well, having the polished bezel. I don't think it's terrible. Have we got that up on screen, guys, there? We haven't got... No, sorry, we can't get that one up there. I don't think it's the worst thing they've ever done.
No.
Well, Tudor did it, didn't they? Tudor did... I'm trying to remember the name of the watch they introduced recently on the Asian market. It's gone out of my mind, the name of the watch now. Pretty looking watch, but in the flesh, they introduced it. I think they took it to the Asian market first. The Tudor Royal, that was it. Very nice, sort of bit AP looking, bit Vacheron looking, bit of a sort of a hybrid between a Vacheron overseas maybe and an AP Royal Oak. Very, very nice looking watch, very sensibly priced. I mean, look. The 41mm, 1,730 quid. Wow. Unbelievable. But then I've seen it in the flesh, and I don't mean it's disrespectful to the Asian market, but for me, it's too flimsy for most Europeans. It's just not big enough.
Yeah. Well, that's
and I
the
could
thing
see.
with a 36. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Who knows? It'd be good to have an explanation. Be very interesting. I know that. I'd love to hear their thoughts behind it.
Sure.
It'll probably make sense.
Absolutely.
We're just not clever enough to know it.
I've got Kenny W here. He sends, Spencer, what do you think of the cannabis green dial? I'm not feeling it. Someone else has said, we've got Kelvin O. Again, new nickname for the cannabis dial is now called the Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre.
Mark, your group, what are they saying?
The puff dial.
Puff dial. Puff the dragon. Yeah?
I prefer Dr. Dre, actually.
You think Dr. Dre?
Yeah, the Dr. Dre.
I've seen a few different comments. I mean, it's up on screen there. I don't think it's terrible. The interesting thing, when I first saw the silver version of it, I think it looks a bit meteorite-y at first. I had to double look at it. See there where it's shown on the screen.
They've done these sort of dials before, though, Spencer. That's not completely unique. I mean, it is different, but it's not a completely...
No. I'll tell you what I think it's better than. If we go back a few years ago, Paul, and you'll remember this, there was a dial that sort of had flowers, and I avoided it like the plague. I couldn't sell. Do you know the watch?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it had sort of little flowers, like three
like
or
lotus
four
leaves
petals.
or something. Yeah.
I didn't like that at all, and couldn't sell it. And they had it in brown and green. It wasn't a strong dial at all.
No.
But these brick dials in the gold.
Yeah.
I think there's a blue version as well, Paul. I think they're stunning. I
really nice,
really done a great job on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're called the fluted, I believe. Yeah. What have we got? Keith's39 has said, "Where's Hilda?" She's having a night off tonight. Sorry, guys. We've got Mark to replace her.
I've told you, Spencer, you got to untie her at least twice a week.
Asif Goldmine has said the Ganja dial, or the Howard Jackson's come up with the Rolex dope, and Red Shovel's got another shout out for Hilda. So Hilda, you're not forgotten here. Don't worry, we'll get her back, but we're just trying something a bit different tonight. But she will be here. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry.
Maybe that dial, that Dr. Dre dial, I'm going to call it. I think maybe that dial is a bit of a hint, a bit of a clue. Maybe someone at the design centre there has been smoking something a bit iffy, because it would make more sense for some of them releases. I've got to be honest with you.
Paul, can I just make a huge thank you to everyone? We've just hit 100 people. So, Paul, between you, me and Mark, we are boring 100 people here tonight for our first time. I think that's it. I think we've hit the high. Yeah?
Listen, mate, a cure for insomnia is not easy to find.
No.
So, you know.
Absolutely. I forget the name. There was someone mentioned here earlier saying, Spencer, do you ever sleep? You're always working. Well, I was on with Paul last night. We done the live at midday yesterday. No, I can't. Sorry, guys, I can't see who it was. The answer is I try and answer my calls, answer my emails, prepare videos. That's why we're doing the live here tonight. We're going to see how this goes. We've hit 101 now, Paul, on people watching. So I'm
good. A little message for everyone watching as well. If anyone ever rings Spencer and he doesn't answer or doesn't reply, please do not be offended. He's not ignoring you. Spencer doesn't even answer phone calls to his wife half the time because he's always doing something. So listen, whenever I ring him, I don't even leave him a message, because I think, right, if he can't answer, he can't answer. He'll have seen I've called, he'll ring me back. There's no point in me wasting more of his time leaving him a message. But, mate, I know when I was dealing, if you're in the watch game like you are and I was, and you're doing it properly, my day used to start at about 7 a.m. and often wouldn't finish till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Look,
that was a regular occurrence.
Hours in the day, days in the hour, days in the week. It's non-stop. And like you say, Paul, I just want to thank all of you guys, my team as well at the office. We're on the phones 9 to 5:30. We try and get back to people, send packs out, do the post. People are doing drop-offs at the moment. And watch people, watch lovers. As you know, Paul and I are going to do something, and Mark will be with us as well. We're going to do an Antiques Roadshow where people can meet us. I'll be buying the beers. It'll be in Radlett, in one of the locations near there. We can't firm it up yet because everything's not been released, but towards the end of June, that's what we're going to be doing.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And everyone.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the viewers again. I mean, for me at least, it's been a fair while now. The Brighton Watch Show was the last time we got the meet and greet. What a successful day that was. Everyone
he
was
put a show
had a
up.
lovely day.
Yeah. I mean,
Had a lovely
considering
day.
the weather wasn't great, it was November. I mean, it was when was that? 2019, Paul?
October it was. October 2019.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah.
But that was great. But look, we'll do that for everyone. Guys, I think we've got to go now. That's all we got time for now. But thank you, Mark. Thank you, Paul. And viewers.
My pleasure.
Thank all of you. And obviously hit the subscribe and we look forward to seeing you again. All the best, people.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Well done, Paul.
You all right, mate? Is that okay?
Yeah? Well done. Mark?
I love listening to you both.